Reggie here, your friendly neighborhood bodybuilder and comic book collector, and I want to welcome you to another one of my live streams. It is Thursday, and I have been traveling for the entire week, and I just came back late last night, and I'm trying to play catch up. I am aggressively trying to play catch up on many fronts, on the personal, professional, and YouTube fronts. And so I have not gone live all week and wanted to jump on here to say a quick hello to some folks and maybe unbox two things that have arrived for me. There were several things. I think I have like 3 more packages back here that I haven't unopened yet either, but I want to open at least 2 of them in this live stream. And I will warn you, I may be going live tomorrow as well. So definitely stay tuned for that. So before we get going, I want to say hello to some comic book soldiers that have joined me here in the room. Glitter and Duct Tape is in the house. Matt Wood, wake up, brother. Wake up. I know it's late on the East Coast, but wake up. Matt, it's good to see you, brother. Tina's in the house. How you doing, Tina? It is always good to see you, my friend. Scrolling down through the names. Aaron Finkelstein is in the house. Mike is here. Joey is here. Nicholas is here. Hillbilly Comics, my man Vox is in the house. Myth Lab Music is in the house. It's good to see you. I think that's the first time I've ever seen your name, but welcome to the live stream. I don't know how to say that, but hello to you. I need phonetic spellings on some of these. It is good to see all you guys. Chris, how you doing? C3 Comics is in the house. All right, before there's a lot more of you guys roll into the room here. It's good to see all of you guys. Dark Ranger, how you doing, my man? It is good to see you. TJ is in the house. How you doing, brother? I saw your comment earlier today on it was Comic Book McDee's Instagram post with his 9.8 Red Hood first appearance, and I read your comments on there. You are the guy that can definitely appreciate a solid 9.8, and you were correct. He is the kind of guy that absolutely loves Red Hood, so I'm definitely pleased for him with that 9.8 that he was able to score. So definitely want to thank everybody for jumping out and joining me here for a couple of minutes. Judas Joey saying, got my shirt in the mail when I got back from a work trip. Fits great. That's what's up. Thank you, Joey. I'm definitely glad that you were able to get one of the shirts, and I'm glad that you're happy with it. These shirts, man, I'm gonna be honest with you. A lot of people that have received them are like, these are actually nice. Like, I try to only put out good stuff that I would actually wear out in public. You know what I'm saying? And so I'm glad that it arrived safely, and I'm glad that you like it. So thank you for supporting the channel. I absolutely appreciate you, bro. What is this? Brian's like, just finished a meeting in my office. I'm late, but I'm here. Welcome to the live stream, brother. I have been playing catch up at work like nobody's business. I was actually stuck in traffic for extra time because I missed my my window to leave work, and so it took me an extra long time to get home. My kids were like, "Daddy, we were worried about you." So a couple of boxes arrived while I was out traveling this week. One of them is this heavily stained mystery box here. I don't think that this is a comic. I think I kind of sort of know what this one is, but we're gonna crack this thing open and check it out. And I think my wife actually took my my better box cutter. This is I don't even think this thing is all that sharp. We're gonna hopefully be able to cut these boxes open nevertheless and see what is inside. Hopefully you guys also saw the notice that I put up today. The Ready, Set, Go preview show is actually going to be going live on Saturday night again. I have to do another Saturday night at 7:30 p.m. So be aware of that. Hopefully you guys can actually join me for that live stream because life gets in the way of comics. Occasionally I have to make some adjustments. So nice little bundle there, definitely smaller, I think, than a comic. A little bit smaller. I'm not even sure how this thing is sealed. Bear with me as I figure out how to open this pack here. Traditional guy fashion. I'm gonna just cut it off. See what's inside this thing. So I think I know what this is. Man, that's loud. This thing is massive. Oh, this is massive. Yeah, you definitely welcome, Glitter and Duct Tape, man. Definitely welcome. This thing is massive. It is a lot bigger than I thought. Wow. This is actually pretty cool. This is substantial. So this is my first graded video game. My very first graded video game right here. This thing is, look, this thing is thick. Look how thick that is. And this is Burger Time from the Carolina collection. And I don't know what these words mean. Rev A oval 50QR. I think that's what that said. 50QR, 3-screw oval 50R. I don't know what that means. I may have to look that up, man. But it's came back at a 6.5. This is a Burger Time video game, Nintendo Entertainment System. This thing is actually pretty cool. This it has a grade on the back. It says box 6.0, I guess cartridge 9.0, manual is a 5.0, overall 6.5, released in Japan as Hamburger, port of the 1982 Bally Midway arcade game. Are the details that are written on the back. I've actually never really seen one of these things in person before, so this is my first time seeing one of these graded video games, and this thing is graded. This is a WATA video game, graded game. I'm actually going to go to the WATA website in a minute. This thing is substantial. I mean, this thing is legit. I mean, in terms of its overall structure and substance, I mean, it is pretty solid. It moves a little bit in there, just a tiny bit, but this thing is cool. NES Data East. Again, I'm not really sure what these acronyms mean. High voltage Marcus bike, but those Newton rings. Are there Newton rings? There's no Newton rings on this thing, man. This thing is cool though. It's definitely cool. So my friends over at Go Collect actually sent this over to me. The Go Collect, the owner, they picked up some massive collection that was called the Carolina collection. And I don't know all the details of this thing, to be honest with you, but it's a massive collection of comics that of games that was actually brought, I think it was to Heritage. I think Heritage Auctions actually sold off this massive collection of graded video games for the guys over at Go Collect. And they actually sent one over to me because I had never seen one before. So I think it's really cool. I think this is really cool. I've actually talked about WATA and graded games here on the channel before. Nerdy Girl, aka Danielle, was actually here on the channel several months ago, actually talking about graded video games and the similarities that exist between them and graded comics. And there's actually a lot of similarities. And I think there's a lot of guys that are in comics, and gals for that matter, that are in comics and are moving into graded video games as well. And Danielle came on the channel. She spent some time kind of educating me on the differences and similarities that existed between the two. So if you never saw that video, you definitely want to go back and watch it. But the Carolina collection, I think is similar to like a pedigree collection for comics, and that it's a massive collection that I think was owned by a single person. And so that collection was actually offered up on Heritage, and I guess all of the games sold off. And this is one of the games from the Carolina collection. So definitely cool. Some cool stuff. And WATA is like the equivalent of like a CGC or CBCS in that they grade games and they evaluate them on a couple of different criteria. And you can kind of see that on the back there, that being the cartridge, the manual, and the box itself, if the box is actually open. And so if you haven't watched that video that I did with Danielle, you definitely want to go back and check that out. So what does this say? I don't mean this in a bad way, but why would you lock up a video game? And then here's the thing is that people ask the exact same question about comics. Why would you ever grade a comic? And I guess part of it is the ability to preserve that game. And, you know, I don't know. You lock up a game, you lock up a comic. The only thing you can really do is still enjoy the front cover, just like a comic. It's really no different. And so I don't profess to pass judgment. I don't know. I don't have the answers to these things, you know, but this is a growing trend. And I can tell you that these books actually sell for a ton. These graded books, I keep saying that, these graded games actually sell for a ton of money, especially like those original Those original games, they sell for a lot of money, like $9,000, $5,000. It's interesting. It is an interesting thing, you know? So Tina's like good video game. I actually played this game on, I can't even remember the original system that it was released on. It was my father's game system. And when I was in like middle school and in high school, we used to play it on this old system, that being Burger Time. And so this actually holds a special place in my heart, to be honest with you. I don't even know if the guys over at Go Collect actually knew that, but I think it's a fun game. I've never played this one, but I played the original Burger Time and I played a lot of it. What does this say? It's like a graded comic book. Lots of video game collectors out there. I honestly did not realize how big of a segment this actually was. And it is big, it is growing, and there is a lot of money. And I would say anytime you start to see auction houses get into a business, that says a lot about that business. You know what I'm saying? There's a reason why auction houses sell graded comics, because there's money in it. There's a reason why auction houses like Heritage sell these graded video games as well. So I still have my Sega Genesis. That's what's up. Sonic the Hedgehog was my game on there. Man, I'm trying to remember there were so many games that we used to play. My brother and I used to play a ton of those games, but Sonic was like the first game that I think everybody played, like Super Mario Brothers. That was like the first game that you played on Nintendo. Yeah. Felix, how you doing, brother? It is good to see you. ColecoVision. I never really got into Qbert. I thought that game was so hard back in the day. I never got into ColecoVision. What is this? I don't know what this is. It looks like the folks over at WADA might actually be behind on a couple of things. Wow. Let's pop over here to the website real quick. Let me get rid of this comment and I'm gonna actually come back in a second. Streets of Rage. I remember that one. So let me share my screen over here so we can actually pop over to the WADA website, because I know a lot of you guys probably are not familiar with some of this stuff, but this is the WADA website, and WADA again is similar to like a CGC or CBCS. They do graded comics, and the very first thing that I saw when I popped in here was this November 1 announcement where they're actually talking about submission tiers. So WADA has been working hard to catch up on our backlog of submissions, and consequently, we will reopen all submission tiers on December 1. So again, this is, I guess, one of those factors, right, that CBCS, CGC, and WADA, they all face it, right? These delays in turnaround time. So we thank you all for your amazing support and patience. We are excited to continue our incredible growth with you. I mean, at least they put up a very polite message about it. But this is basically the website where they actually talk about what they actually do in terms of grading comics. So you can see the management team is a really, really young management team. The CEO right here is a young guy, Dennis. Pretty young guy. I mean, look, he's just an infant here. But this is the management team. But then you scroll down here, man, you start to look at this advisory board, and you see some interesting things, right? Here is guy with a huge reputation in the market, the senior grader right here from CGC. This guy over here is from CBCS. I mean, there's definitely some heavy hitters on this list. Co-founder of Heritage right here, CGC primary grader right here, Paul. I mean, there's definitely some heavy hitters. Founder Nintendo Age right here. So yeah, definitely some interesting stuff over here. But if you guys are ever interested, graded games right over here at WADA, you can actually check it out. So definitely a cool little gift. Paperboy. You guys are awesome. Shouting out all the old games. I still remember playing Duck Hunt, and the fact that little gun never worked quite right if you got too far away from the screen. But this is what just came in from the folks over at Go Collect. They sent me my very first graded video game. It is a 6.5 Burger Time game. You look here on the back. Look at this. Look at that. If that's not nostalgia, I don't know what is. All right, definitely some cool stuff right there. And I think that there is also a delay on my my chat here, so you guys have to apologize. I apologize if I'm not able to follow along just as quickly. And I actually reached out to the folks that run the platform that I use, because I don't use the YouTube interface. I actually have a special interface that allows me to do a lot of this stuff up here. And I reached out to them, made them aware of the situation, and they promised that they are working aggressively to resolve the issue. And I don't fully understand what the issue is, but it results in basically a delay between what I see and you all typing, which makes it really difficult to have a dynamic conversation like we like to do on this channel. So what I received here is a nice bundle of books from a subscriber, and looks like some cool books here. Looks like some cool books. Oh, some cool stuff here. Oh, there is some cool stuff here. So we're gonna open this up. There is a letter here on some with some blue painter's tapes. You guys know I'm a fan of that. There is a letter here that we will not read right now. We will read this letter later. But I just saw some magic here. This is a nice bundle here. Nice little bundle. And there are some people that I think are really going to enjoy this. Here is, and I don't know this one, the true significance of this one, other than it being the last issue of a particular book. And I know that because there is a note. And there is a note here in the spirit of TJ Watson, notes that tell me what's going on. Actually, maybe I should read the letter first. Let's read the letter first, just in case. Oh, there we go. Okay. Cool. I'm glad that I read the letter first, because you never know. All right. All right. So this is the very last issue of this book, and I know it because there's a note. Here is Star Wars number 107. This is actually the last issue. I'm guessing the last issue of this particular volume with Marvel. It is. It appears to be a really, really clean copy of a dark book, which is really impressive. As you guys know, it is tough to get these black covers in really nice shape. And this one is in really, really nice shape. I mean, look at that spine. And I'm going to rebag and board all of these things, even though the bags look pretty new. But I tend to rebag and board so that everything is uniform in my boxes as best I can get it. And again, I apologize if I'm not responding to you guys. There is a delay. The last message that I received here that I'm able to see on my side was about 4 minutes ago. So you guys definitely have my apology with that. Oh, man, this is, that's nice. This is issue number 68 of Star Wars. And you guys have been telling me, Reggie, you have to get the Star Wars, and a wonderful subscriber actually took pity on my heart in my wallet and hooked me up. And I think this one is a Boba Fett. I can't remember the significance of them all. So I'm going to have to look it up here, and hopefully my chat stream will actually catch up to me as I purposefully try to delay the conversation. So we're going to see here what this one is, because I cannot remember, but this is one of the books that people kept telling me I should get. Okay, so this one is the origin. This is the origin of Boba Fett. And I've been watching this Mandalorian TV show, and it is fantastic. It is such a good show. And so Baby Yoda is indeed the cutest, but this right here is Star Wars number 68. This is the origin of Boba Fett. This next one, oof. I don't even think I need to look this one up, or we're going to look it up just in case, just to make sure that we are covering our bases on this. Okay. That is a nice book. That is a nice book. This is the first appearance of Boba Fett, first full appearance of my man Yoda, first full appearance of several other people, some cameos, etc., etc. This is a cool book. And what's funny is that I actually had this book once upon a time and actually gave it away as part of Trivia Night. And now, thankfully, this book is back, and it is a really, really nice cover. Now I actually know the significance of this book, and it means something. Because before I didn't connect with the book, but I definitely connect with it now. So hopefully the live stream here, the chat will catch up, because it still has not caught up. And then there's a couple of other books in here that I dig. This one is a really, really cool book. And it's actually this is a nice copy too. This is a nice copy. This is Silver Surfer number 50. I just love this book. This is some shiny foil action from the 90s. Who doesn't love shiny foil? Definitely a cool book to have. I dig this. I've always enjoyed this particular book. This one, and I think it's 75, the two foil covers. I dig both of those. I think I know this one. Sometimes it's helpful to have a key collector app handy, especially when you can't remember all the books just because there's so many of them. It's nice to have a little cheat sheet, and key collector app definitely does that for me. So this is one. Yep, I figured what this one was. This is actually the first appearance of the Infinity Gauntlet. This is Silver Surfer number 44. Definitely a cool book. Definitely a cool book right there. Who doesn't love some Thanos and the Infinity Gauntlet battling it out right there with Drax and Silver Surfer? Definitely a cool book. And then the very last book. The very last. Oh, nope, there's two left. Let me look this one up, make sure. There are two left here. I think I know what this one is as well, but we're going to verify just to be safe. Just to be on the safe side. Yep, this one is the resurrection of my man Thanos, and it's also a newsstand. Was that a newsstand? No, that wasn't a newsstand. This is a resurrection of Thanos. Definitely a cool book right there. I do not have this one. I actually don't have this book at all. This was cool. Power Cosmic, little Jack Kirby crackle going on with the hand there, or the both of the hands. Definitely a cool book that I don't have, so I'm definitely thankful for that. And this last one's just, I don't know, Batman, Joker Who Laughs. Or the Killing Joke, sorry. Batman Killing Joke. Definitely a cool book right there. This is awesome. So huge shout out for this wonderful AOK/early Christmas gift. So I am very, very appreciative of this wonderful token of appreciation. Oh, I forgot. I also told you guys about the low print run. I did tell you about that. So definitely appreciative of this. I say it all the time. I have some amazing subscribers out there that really have become friends. There are people that I talk to on a regular basis, and this is one of the people that I talk to on a regular basis that has hooked me up big time with some really, really awesome books. That I really appreciate. You cannot go wrong with some of this magic right here. So definitely appreciate it. All right. So this thing still has not caught up. So I'm not quite sure what you guys are talking about. So it's really, really hard for me. Let me see if I can pop open real quick YouTube, and maybe I can actually see the live stream for my channel myself, independent of the interface that I use. I may have to silence it so that I can actually see it. And there we go. Ton of killer books, says nice, says Joey Solo. Kyler says The Killing Joke. Hillbilly Comics says picked up a copy of that Killing Joke a couple of weeks ago, one of his prize books. This one's really nice. It's really nice. I tell you, there are some fantastic people out there that hook me up, and I'm always so appreciative. I'm reading the comment here from C3 Comics that is like, that's dope. And Almighty Liger King, shout out to you, brother. He says best AOK of the year. What does it say? So when are you going to do another comic book hunting video? So it's a little tough, bro. It's a little tough to do hunting videos, and here's why. So like, for example, this week I was basically traveling the entire week, and so it's tough because I can't get out. And then this weekend, because I've been traveling, I need to spend time with my family, and so it's a little tough. But rest assured, there are some hunting videos coming. And I want to say that there's probably 30 of them on the channel. So if you search for Regie Collects Hunting, there's probably 30 of them out there, which is a lot of videos. So hopefully with the holidays coming up, I'll have hopefully some time to be able to do some hunting videos, because they take a little time, right, for me to go to a shop and to film and that kind of stuff, and then to edit it. It takes a little time. So hopefully soon some hunting videos will be dropping. And I take that definitely, Comic Noob, as a sign that you like those hunting videos. So more to come, bro. I hope to be able to get some stuff out to you guys very soon. So what is this? Kyler's like, love Batman, probably my favorite superhero behind Reggie. I don't know about that. Tina, thank you very much. I absolutely appreciate you, my friend. I really do. Eugene, how you doing? Welcome to the live stream. Joey Solo is listen to your video on current comics worth as much as books like Fantastic Four. Interesting take. Yeah. So, hold on. Have I ever slabbed a book that has been sent to you? Yes, I've slabbed many books that have actually been sent to me by people. Many books. I've actually slabbed several books that I've actually purchased from members of the comic book community as well. So not just the AOKs, but books that have actually been sent to me. So like that Zatanna up there is one book that was actually sent to me by a fellow YouTuber as an AOK because he felt like I needed some DC books on my wall. So the Zatanna is definitely one of those books. I'm not sure. No, nothing else up there. Everything else up there has been a purchase, but the Zatanna was definitely a gift from a fellow YouTuber that I actually slabbed, and it came back pretty nice at a 9.6, which was a little surprising. I mean, I pressed it and all that good stuff, but I was actually pleasantly surprised that it came back at a 9.6. So Hawkeye, how you doing, brother? It is good to see you, man. Scrolling down through the names here, Aaron, you are very welcome, my friend. So there was a comment here that I was going to talk about. Where is it? So Joey Solo made the comment here about the current comics, right? And so, you know, I think people may have misunderstood me just a little bit in that video, which is okay, right? Basically, what I was saying was I was not saying that a modern comic would surpass the value of an AF-15 or an Amazing Spider-Man 1. What I was saying is that if you just looked at the value of one of those books, like if you look at the value, let's just say over like the last 2 years, do I think that a modern comic could be as valuable as one of those books in time? Absolutely. I absolutely do believe that. I do not necessarily believe that one of those comics, one of those modern comics will surpass an AF-15 or an Amazing Spider-Man 1. I don't believe that. But if you were to look at the price of one of those comics today, in 20, 30 years, do I think that a modern comic could be worth that much? Absolutely. I absolutely do believe that, right? And you have to think about it this way. AF-15 was not an expensive book for all time. AF-15 has really taken off in like the last maybe 3 or 4 years. There are people out there that have a dozen or so AF-15s, and they did not spend $15, $20, $25, $30,000 on those books. They were able to get those books for $200, $1,000 in years past. So do I believe that a modern comic could be worth as much as an AF-15? Absolutely. Do I believe that it will surpass? No, I am not saying that. But the thing is that, you know, there are definitely some things that are counting against modern books. And if you watch my video, The Dark Side of Third-Party Grading, one of the things that hurts, if you will, modern comics is the fact that even with low print runs, there will be a healthy number of that particular comic that will survive at a really high grade. And that's because comics come out and they get sent immediately out to CGC to be graded and encapsulated. And so even with low print run comics, a healthy number of those comics will survive in really high grades. Part of what helps propel the value of older comics is the fact that there is both scarcity and rarity at play. There are few of those comics at really high grades. And then there's also demand, which is scarcity, right? Which also pushes up the value of those comics. So they have both scarcity and rarity working in their favor. And then, you know, the scarcity is driven by nostalgia, right? As people get older, they hearken back to their youth, and they want to recapture their youth, AKA things like video games, right? And so as these modern comics continue to age, so do the people that played those games or that read those comics as children. So in 20, 30 years, they will want those books of their childhood, the same way that boomers are going back and buying up comics in droves, the same way that guys like me in their 40s are going back and buying books from the 90s and even older because of nostalgia. That's how you explain Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles. There are some people that were born in the 80s that absolutely love the Turtles. I was born in the 70s. I'm not a big turtle fan, but there are guys in the 80s love some turtles, right? And because of that, there will be people that will pay extra money for those comics in the future. And the question becomes, what are those modern characters, those modern comics that are being made now that people in 20, 30, 40 years will pay for because they have disposable income and because they are nostalgic about their childhood? The truth is, we don't know what those comics are. We have no clue. Miles Morales might be the biggest thing in 30 years. He might be Riri Thompson might be the biggest thing in 20 years. We don't know. We really don't know. And that's not to say that Peter Parker is less important. Peter Parker's probably always going to be important. But you have to acknowledge that there are things that are being done now that people will reminisce over in decades to come. So scrolling down through the comments here, seeing what I miss. Just like here we go. FFB Legend says, just like why Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtle is going for $52K on Comic Link right now. You see what I'm saying? And it is true. People are nostalgic. What is this? Quizzle says nostalgia equals money. It is true. It is very, very true. And my live stream still has not gone out. My last message was on 7:49. That makes it really hard to have a live stream with people. Joy Solo, do you think the difference is now that more people are taking care of their books than back in the day? Yeah, that is a huge part of it, right? Is if you think about it, Mylar has been around for a while, right? Let's be honest. But if you look at the 50s and the 60s and the 70s, maybe even the 80s, right? I mean, kind of sort of 90s. I don't know that Mylar was all that popular, right? Polybags have been around for a long time, but not forever, right? But I think that there are modern techniques now with Mylar, with polybags, with MIP sheets, with graded comics. There are all these things that we're doing now that are helping us to preserve books. But remember, that's only part of it, right? Preservation is only part. Comics and other collectibles are always being lost, whether it be through fire, flood, or some other kind of natural disaster, or mom got fed up and threw your stuff in the trash, right? There are all kinds of things that work towards reducing the inventory and availability of comics. Back in the day, it was people going off to war. They never came home. Their things were thrown away. People going off to college, their comics were thrown away. And you guys know this. Many of you probably have these stories, right? There are lots of comics that are thrown away every single year. And so that will help, right? That will help in the future as comics are, even though they are preserved, they will still be thrown away by parents that don't understand, and people have said, well, comics now are very expensive and this and that. But, even when comics were 10 cents and 25 cents, parents and grandparents said that they were too expensive. That's too much money for funny pages, right? Yeah, they're $5 now, but a cup of coffee is $3. I mean, it's just movie tickets are $15, right? We're taking our kids to Paw Patrol. I don't even want to tell you how much that costs, right? So scrolling down through the comics, through the comments here, I'm a Sergeant Fury comic kind of guy, so I don't see modern comics offering me much. Yeah, I mean, I think that's one of the great things about this hobby is that it doesn't matter what you're into, enjoy it, right? There are people that read Donald Duck and Daffy Duck and Reg and Jughead and all that kind of stuff, man. To each his own. I think we can all celebrate the fact that we enjoy the same kind of thing in that they're all funny pages. Now, what's on those funny pages, I think, differs from person to person. And I think this is just one of the really great differences that exist between us as collectors and readers of comics, And so if you're not into modern comics, that's cool, man. There's a lot of people that are. There's a lot of people that only buy modern comics. That's what people fail to realize, is that there's a lot of people, Modern comics is where it is for them because they're new to the hobby. They're just now coming into it, or they just really love the covers. There's a lot of people that don't like Silver Age, that don't like Golden Age, that don't like Bronze comics. They don't like the language. They think that the language is dated. They think the artwork is weak. There's a lot of people that dig modern comics. There's a lot of people that don't. It's all good because we need all of us. We need every single one of us and more in this hobby to ensure that it's around in the year. Reg's going to be the biggest thing in 30. Black don't crack, brother. I'll be here. I'll be here on this microphone doing my thing. Anthony, how you doing, brother? Welcome to the live stream. He says taking a break on his graveyard shift. It's good to see you, my man. I'm scrolling down through the comments. I was way behind. Let me see if I can catch up real quick. John, it says Rick Grimes and Miles Morales someday will find. Yeah, and it's possible. I really do believe that it's possible. And people that are like, no, it's not possible. Think about it. They said the same thing about AF-15 and Amazing Spider-Man 1, right? Everybody thinks that what they have is the greatest thing. And it's not true. Just because it's old doesn't mean that it's better. Just because it's new doesn't mean that it's bad. You know what I'm saying? But Rick Grimes, that show ran for 10 years? That thing's going to be in reruns forever, right? Miles Morales is Spider-Man to some people. They don't even think about Peter Parker. They think Miles Morales, and there's nothing wrong with that. Peter Parker's still the dope bomb stuff, but still, and the thing is that there is stuff that is coming out right now that is going to be the bomb in 20 and 30 years. And that's what we want. We want that, right? Because as people find things that they really enjoy, that resonates with them, they oftentimes start to look in other areas, right? If you can hook somebody in one area, they will potentially explore other areas. You know what I'm saying? And it doesn't take away from anything. It just means that the hobby is going to be here long term. You know what I'm saying? I am almost at 6K. I wish I could share this stuff on the screen. You guys don't even know what I'm talking about. So Tina just commented here that I'm almost at 6K. I think I'm like 100 people away or something like that from 6K. So we're definitely getting closer. Scrolling down through the comments here, Matthew, you definitely stay tuned. Stay tuned, brother, because I think next week I have a cool video that's going to be coming out for you. I think it's next week. I don't think it's coming out this week. So stay tuned for that. Eugene says my uncles used to fold their comics, but yeah, I actually commented on that in the video because I've heard that there was a lot of people back in the day, they would just fold the comic up, put it in their back pocket. And so there's a lot of subscription creases and just creases and overall love the books from back in the day because they were periodicals. People did not look at comics as being these valuable collectibles. They looked at them as being periodicals that were meant to be enjoyed, consumed, and then disposed of. And so it is very different now. But I do believe that comics that are coming out will be worth something in the future. How much and which ones, who knows? Because if I could predict the future, I would be rich in the future. I have no clue where I was going with that. Sully Two Kings, how you doing, brother? It is good to see you, my man. I think more than just that, back in the day, people didn't even try to preserve comics. So yes and no, right? And I say that there's a comment here from Callie Fortune. So yes and no. There are some people back in the day that absolutely saw the value in comics, and that's why you have pedigree collections. If you've never seen, what is it, Lee Kirby Ditko somebody, the guy is on YouTube. He has the most amazing collection ever. And it was actually his dad's collection from back in the day that I think he's kind of inherited it. It is an amazing, amazing collection of comics. And if you talk about someone that hoarded comics, it is this guy. If you go to the CGC website, you can actually look up pedigree collections. There are lots of people that actually saw the collectible nature in comics, and they absolutely bought massive quantities of books and hoarded them. The average person did not. And so I can tell you for a fact, I have seen collections where people hoarded comics. Nothing wrong with that. Absolutely nothing wrong with it. I see no problem with that. But there were people that have hoarded comics throughout time. There are people that actually protected and preserve comics throughout time. That's how we have pedigree collections. But your average person did not. Your average person did not. So scrolling down through some of the comments, Eugene's like, I wish that my family members had not folded up the comics and put them in their pockets. Oh man. So I'm scrolling down through what is this? Cosmic Ghost Rider will be worth billions by 2079. He has spoken, says the almighty Liger King. Brother, if you are still alive in 2079, I will gladly say you are the winner, my friend. And that's the thing, is not every old book is worth something. Not every new book will be worth something. We honestly don't know which books are going to be worth something, you know? And so if people are very concerned about value, right, and future value, what I always tell them is to buy a book that's already worth something. If you want to know that something is going to be worth something in the future, buy something that's already worth something right now, because the likelihood that it will be worth more or the same in the future is higher than buying a book now that is worth zero, right? And hoping that it is worth something in the future. So, or you can just buy stuff that you just really enjoy and just you just roll the dice. Ken, how you doing, brother? It is good to see you. Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles #1 is a genuinely a rare comic. The first print run was only 3. Yes, well said. Collecting Chaos, well said. I actually just finished watching that what is it? Toys We Collected, or Toys We Love, or Toys That Made Us on Netflix. I can't remember the name of the series. And I heard about that. That is truly a rare comic. And I actually have a couple of rare comics in my own collection. The Graphic Fantasy. It was a comic that was printed by the guy that did Savage Dragon, Eric Larson, right? I think there's only like 250 or something like that in existence. That is a truly rare comic, you know, that is, and as is Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles, right? Because you have to imagine, out of the 3275 that were made, how many of them are still surviving today? And then how many of those that survived are in really high grade? And so again, that's a treasured, rare comic. If you can ever get your hands on one of those, that's a dope book. That's a dope book. Scrolling down through the comment, as the world gets more together and linked in, these issues may garner a world demand. I think there is already a world demand. This is a High Voltage Mark. He says, as the world gets more together, right, you know, there's less division, right, in the world. I would say that there are people all around this world that collect comics. If you look at the stats on my videos, there are people in Germany and Australia and the UK and Canada and Spain. I could probably, I said Australia. You could go on and on. There are people all around this world that collect comics, and many of them actually really like US comics. Russia, I have a couple of people in Russia, Italy that reach out to me from time to time. So I think it's definitely a global phenomenon. I really do believe that it is a global thing. And I think that it is all fantastic. I think it's all fantastic. And to some degree or another, just like with old movies and TV shows and celebrities that go out of favor here in the US, they still have longevity outside the United States. And I don't think that comics are really any different than that. You know, I don't think comics are any different. So I think that's an excellent point that High Voltage Mark has brought up, is that we live in a global world. And so we can't just think about what happens here in the US, because people all around the world collect and buy comics. You see books going over to Dubai. I keep talking about I want to go into the export business of comics and export books to other countries, because I think there's money to be made by moving comics outside the United States. What is this? Do you think that means that people 20 years from now won't be that into Silver Age books since they have no attachment? No, I definitely, no. Here's the thing. I wasn't even alive when most books came out in the Silver Age, and I love Silver Age. So I don't think that that's it at all. I don't think that it is it at all. And I actually know there are a lot of young guys my age. See what I did there? There are a lot of young guys and younger that actually love Golden Age books, pre-code horror comics. They love them. I don't know if it's an age thing that puts a limit on what one is into. You know, I love Silver Age books. I buy a lot of Silver Age books because that's where it all started. You know what I'm saying? That's where Spider-Man started, and I love it. I love the language and and the nostalgia and the history of comic books, and that appeals to me. And I don't know if that's going to change, right? There's a guy here in this room right now, Matthew. This guy is 15 years old. He loves Amazing Spider-Man. I think he has right now Amazing Spider-Man 60 through 70 or something like that. Young guy, 15 years old, buys low number Amazing Spider-Man, so I don't think that what I'm saying now will affect those older books. I think that there's so much variety out there that people will enjoy over time. Scrolling down through the comments here. Ariel, how you doing, bro? It is good to see you. Thank you for joining the live stream, man. It's always good to see you, bro. So what is this? So speaking of international comics, I wanted to ask you, what about Daredevil #1, the Australian edition? I have a copy, but doubt it will be in. Yeah. So, I don't know much about that. Are you talking about the original Daredevil #1 volume? I would say definitely head over to like Go Collector Comics PriceGuide.com and actually look it up there, because a lot of times, to be honest with you, those older books, man, they sometimes don't make a distinction between that. Like an Amazing Spider-Man Canadian and Amazing Spider-Man US version, I think they're the same value. I don't even know that it matters that one is Canadian and one is US. I don't even know that it matters, to be honest with you. So I think you have to look at it on a case-by-case basis, because I'm not certain that just because one is international. Now, if it's in a different language, that might be different. But, if it's English variant kind of thing, I don't know that it's going to matter. But I would definitely encourage you to look it up. So scrolling through the comments, Jess Pele, how you doing, bro? It is good to see you. Jess Pele says, good evening, my friend. Silver Age will always be popular because people will want the first appearances and origins of the greatest characters in comics. Couldn't have said it better myself, bro. And I think the thing is, if people will always want them, which helps keep values high, will people be able to afford them is the question. And I think that as people get older and have more disposable income, and they understand the history of comics, I think that they will seek those comics out. So yeah, you get hooked on Miles Morales because that's Spider-Man, but then you realize that that's not the original Spider-Man. As you get older and you get a job and you get some real money, and you're like, oh, maybe I should buy this Amazing Spider-Man because that's the original. I think that's what we're talking about. And that does not mean that Miles Morales isn't a dope character. It doesn't mean that Peter Parker's not a dope character. Both great characters. You know what I'm saying? And I think you can enjoy both. I really do. I was the 15-year-old buying low number. That's what's up. And man, I'm telling you, this is Air Spidey 23. If I could do it all over again, I would buy so many Amazing Spider-Man and original books from back in the day. If I could do it all over again, man, if you think about it, if you think about the missed opportunities, it's probably best that you don't think about it. It's probably best that you don't think about it. All right, so here, let's pause. Let's pause for a second. My man Rob is here. Rob, I think that you arrived a little late. And I want to show you something, because Rob has been sending me super chats, and I don't want the super chats to go away. I don't want the super chats to go away, Rob. But I do want to share something with you. A very awesome member of this channel has bestowed upon me some really awesome books. I'm talking to you, Rob. I'm looking right at you, brother. A very awesome subscriber has hooked me up with a couple of really cool books. They've taken pity on my pocketbook and sent over to me the origin of Boba Fett and also the first appearance of Boba Fett. So we now have in the collection Star Wars 42 and 68. And I want to thank you, Rob. Honestly, bro, I want to thank you for all the super chats, because you've given me several. I want to say thank you for that. I want to say thank you for joining the chats on a regular basis. I want to say thank you to this awesome subscriber who hooked me up. Looking right at you. I want to thank you for hooking me up with this. Again, awesome subscribers, man. I definitely appreciate all of you guys for the super chats, for the books, for just joining the chat and being part of what we are trying to do over here. So scrolling down through the comments here. Let me see. So what is this? Mug says, I have an opportunity to buy around 1,200 silver and bronze age comics for $1,000. If all the keys are picked out, is it still worth picking up? I think you have to look at what's left, right? I mean, it depends. It depends on what you're trying to do, right? If I was trying to put together a run and there was a healthy number of that run in there, because I mean, what do you're talking about? What, less than a dollar a book, right? It's not a bad deal, right? Less than a dollar a book, and more than likely those books are going to be worth more than a dollar, right? I mean, at the low end, you're going to be looking at a couple of bucks, right? So depending upon the condition of the book, depending upon the titles that are in there, depending upon your interest in those silver and bronze age books, to me, it's kind of an easy call to make. A dollar per book ain't bad, especially if you have things like Amazing Spider-Man in there, especially if you have titles in there, for example, that you want to complete the run of or that you're really interested in. I don't think that it's a bad deal, to be honest with you. So I mean, less is always better, let's be honest, but $1,000 is not bad. So scrolling down, Sully2 King says, Silver Age is my sweet spot. Golden Age is not my thing so much. I respect it. I just don't collect it. I'm the same way. There are so many Silver Age comics that I want to buy, not because I'm gonna be honest with you. There are some Golden Age books that I absolutely love, like some Human Torch and Submariner stuff. I love the original Human Torch and Submariner. Love it. But there are so many other Silver Age books that I want first that I don't want to divert my attention to buying those books. And so I'm not a all Golden Age books, right? There are specific characters that I love. Destroyer #1. I would like to get the first appearance of the Destroyer, which is a character that Stan Lee worked on. I love to get that. There are so many Golden Age books that I would like to pick up, but I need to just focus. I need to focus my attention on certain things. Scrolling down through the comments here. What is this? Just getting back in the collection and picked up would be huge boost, but it's a lot of money. Yeah. So here's the thing, man. I'm gonna be honest with you. It is a lot of money, but what happens if you don't pick those books up and you want those books? Then you're going to end up paying a lot more for those books later on. You know what I'm saying? It depends upon so you have to take a step back and you have to ask yourself, what are you trying to do with your collection? What do you want to do with your collection? And if you can answer that question, then you can evaluate whether this purchase makes sense for you or not, right? If your goal is to complete a run or to buy Silver Age books or to focus on this character or that character, then this makes sense. If your goal is to build the best modern comic book collection that you could ever have, then this might not fit. So I think the first thing is to ask yourself, what is the goal for my collection? Part one. Part two, does this purchase further that goal or take me away from that goal? And if you can answer one and two, then I think you can start to wrap your mind around the amount of money, right? Because in the grand scheme of things, I'm going to tell you, yes, it's a lot of money, but it's not. I have a couple of books here on my wall that when I first came back into the hobby, I picked up. And now that I look at those books, I regret not buying the book. I regret not buying a higher grade of that book, right? I regret not buying 2 copies of some books when I had a chance to do it because I was being cheap, right? And so you just have to ask yourself, what are you trying to accomplish? What should I do to further that goal? You know what I'm saying? Amazing. The first appearance of The Punisher. Awful book to read. Wonderful book to have in the collection. Bought too low a grade of that book. Should have bought a higher grade. And I was being cheap. I was being cheap, And so just think about it. Think about it. Comic Book 62 is asking about EC. I think EC books are cool. No, it's not really my thing, to be honest with you. EC books are not my thing. I think they're cool. I've bought a couple to give away here on the channel. Not my thing, Human Torch, Submariner, I can get on board, right? And I have the ability to have a very narrow focus. I think there's a lot of wonderful things out there, but I do have the ability to narrow my focus on specific stuff, and that helps me. That is a skill that I have that helps me tremendously, Scrolling down through some of the comments here. You're collecting chaos is like $1 a book for Silver Age. I would buy those all day. I'm telling you, I'm telling you, that is one, man. If I had a chance to buy it, I personally buy it. I buy it and I turn around and sell it and then buy something I want. I mean, $1 a book, again, depending upon the shape and the condition of the books and the titles. Like if it's Gru, Groo, if it's Gru, I don't know if I would buy Gru. I've actually passed on Gru, to be honest with you. Silver Age book, no, or Bronze Age book, no interest in Gru. That's one I would pass on. But if it's a popular character, I definitely do it. Matt's like, if you're not going to buy it, send me the contact. Comic Book 62 is saying, why do you think original art is not as pervasive as a collectible as printed comics? I think those are real unique pieces of art. Do you find original art to be growing as a collectible? So this is an excellent question. And I would say that original art, to some degree or another, is like golden age, in that you have people that to some degree or another kind of specialize in that. You know what I'm saying? I have one piece of true original art, right, that I picked up, and I paid $150 for it. As a Billy Tan piece, X-Men number 471, page 11, I think, or 14. I bought this back in the day. I felt like that was way too much money. I thought it was way too much money. I think original art is gorgeous. I think that to do original art the right way, it takes a certain amount of education to know what to buy and what not to buy, because you can spend $500 on something that's you can't resale because it's not an iconic piece of art. It's not an iconic pose or something like that of an important character. There are nuances to that I don't think that everybody fully appreciates. The other part is that right now I can go to comicspriceguide.com. I can go to Go Collect. I can go many places and look at the price and the value of this book right here. I can know in 2 minutes how much this book is potentially worth. You can't do that with original art. There are no price guides for original art. To do the price for original art, you have to triangulate it sometimes, right? Because there's only one. You have to triangulate it. Who is the artist? What is that artist's work currently selling for? What is the significance of the piece of art that you're looking for? Is it iconic? Is it an iconic pose? Is it an iconic piece? What's the significance of that particular work, right? You have to triangulate the value, and then you have to find somebody that can actually afford it. I mean, covers, right? Covers easily go for $4,000 and $5,000 for original art. Easily. So your price points for original art are much higher than your price points for just a regular comic. I actually want to get into original art, but my pocketbook says no. My wallet says no, you're not ready for that. All right, so I've definitely enjoyed this. I need to wrap this thing up because I need to film a video for you guys. So I'm actually going to wrap this thing up. As much as I don't want to, I'm going to wrap it up so I can film a video and then spend a little bit of time with the wife here before it's time to go to sleep and get up and go to work and all that good stuff. So I want to thank you guys for hanging out with me just a little bit. I hope that you enjoyed this live stream. It was kind of an impromptu thing. We started off talking about some unboxing stuff here, some burger time. That was sent over to me from the guys from Go Collect, and definitely some really cool books that were sent over to me by a subscriber that I'm really appreciative of. And then we kind of spiraled off into several other topics, but I hope that you guys enjoyed it. I definitely enjoyed hanging out with you. Stay tuned. I may actually go live tomorrow. Because I've been gone for a while and I want to play catch up with you guys. And I enjoy these live streams, and I hope you do as well. If you need to reach out to me, feel free to do so. Regie Collects on Instagram and regiecollects@gmail.com. Take care.